Hey guys, welcome back to Creating Careers Podcast. On today's episode, I had a chance to sit down and talk with Brody Burgess. I can honestly say I greatly enjoyed this conversation. You'll see pretty quick in this episode that Brody has just an incredible sense of humor and just has this certain personality and charisma about him that is very much infectious. I really did enjoy hearing Brody's story, looking at some of his work. He really is a very talented videographer and filmmaker. He's written and directed and produced his own short films, and I have to say that he is very much talented in all of these projects, and his creativity really does shine. I really enjoyed this conversation. It was hilarious. It was very interesting, and it's definitely one worth watching, and I think you will enjoy. Check it out. I am now recording.
I see it. Okay, just so the world knows, Brian was late. It wasn't me. It was Brian, not me. Just to be clear.
That was it. You were just sitting here on StreamYard waiting for me
for hours on it. That's what was happening.
Yeah, you thought it was 6 a.m. and not 6 p.m., right?
Yeah, and so I wanted to be safe, so I just stayed around all day.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, nothing better to do than wait for this podcast, right?
I'm super prepared.
Well, as you were waiting on whatever, as that was happening, I was actually watching one of your horror short films, a story about a girl going vegan.
That's right.
And I'm actually like probably at the most pivotal moment. I am some pivot. But I'm at that like moment in it, and so I need you to wait a little longer on me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to make you do that.
But I do look. What part?
Do what?
What part are you?
So I'm at the part where she was sitting around the fire. You're just now finding out that there's like a whole lot more to this. I mean, I guess from the get-go, you sort of figure out, all right, there's more to this story than you realize. Wow. But you're starting to see pieces of that. And then I get this like doing kind of notification that somebody has entered StreamYard.
How annoying. I hate when that happens. I hate when Brody enters StreamYard. Now, to be clear, I was late. The bit's over. I was late. I ruined Brian's short film experience. But yeah, that's a weird one. I'm glad you didn't finish that one. Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. It's good. It's fine.
So my even remote attempt at like somewhat of a short film would be a video that has my son in it. I did like 3 of them one year. They're not awesome, but interesting. But it basically, if you said sort of, I guess you're alluding to the idea that the ending evidently might be different than expected, maybe in a not good way, possibly. I don't know, just based on what you're saying. A little weird. Yeah. So in that ending, it ended with I think it ended with some Santa Claus dancing with my face on it. Okay. Or something like that in my son's thing. So yeah, it really made you think, oh, this is going to be good. And then it was like, yeah.
And then it got better.
No, not at all.
Where is this, Brian? Can I watch this?
Yeah. It's out there somewhere. Okay. It's on, I'm sure it's on my Instagram, my personal one, which is public, as well as my son's YouTube channel, because I want to humiliate him. Absolutely. As long as I possibly can. So
that's your duty, isn't it?
That is. Yeah. Very much so.
That's all. I'm going to track down his YouTube. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I have confidence. If nothing else, I'll share it out. I'll put it in the description below. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Please do.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and say thank you, Brody Burgess, for being on today's podcast, man.
Man, thanks for having me. I apologize, for 3 things. 1 being late, but we're already past that. 2, my setup looks way less cool than yours.
Yeah, like, that's okay. So that's the goal. That's the goal. I'll go ahead and I'll own that, man. I'll own that, because this is the thing. I'm not interesting.
What?
You
Well,
know,
that's just not true.
I'm not. I'm
For a
not.
whole entire podcast.
I'm not interesting. I'm not talented.
We're not gonna take this talk. No, that's none of this is true. You're just lying to my face.
I make up for my shortcomings with hopefully decent video quality in these videos, and I expect my guests to help me look good by making sure that their setup looks as abysmal as possible.
So I really went for some depth here, as you can tell.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Just a blank white wall, and this is dirtying up the frame a little bit.
Yeah.
So
some leading lines. I see some. I'm not sure where they lead to, but they're leading
somewhere. But I don't know where. Yeah, I think this is now establishing that this is crooked, and I need to take a look at it.
It looks like it's going to fall on you. I mean, it really does.
Honestly might. My office is in complete disarray right now. It's just like there's. I unpacked my car, so it's completely unacceptable. So I'm shoved to this corner right now.
Yeah, I assumed you were in a kitchen. I didn't even think it was an office, just because those are K-cups.
Well, you never know when you need a good K-cup.
That's true. That's true.
I don't take K-cups, to be clear. They're just kind of here. Is that what that is?
I mean, it's a coffee,
okay.
and I made it with a K-cup because, you know, it's none of us care about actual flavor. We just want speed and efficiency. So.
That's exactly right. I don't know. This is a creator's podcast. Some people are gonna leave some mean comments about K-cups. I can already tell.
I would love some comments. Comment below.
Comment, please. Leave it. It doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly. No.
Great. Well, you're gonna have fun editing this. Sorry, man. I've already 5 minutes in and I haven't said anything of substance.
I don't edit, man. People just get it like it is. You know, it's just raw.
All going in?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think this is the best part. Unless at the end you tell me, "Hey, cut all that out," and then I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do a director's cut."
Okay, perfect. That's good. That's good.
Well, listen, I do want to get into your story, and I do want to be respectful of your time. But already, I think it seems like this has been worth it. So I think at this point we should just wrap up and say goodbye at this point.
This was great, Brian. Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
I've enjoyed it, definitely.
Cool setup, man. Like, what is StreamYard? That's what we're in. I've never even. How are you doing this? There's graphics around us. This is awesome.
Yeah, so it's an alternate universe.
Okay.
So you step through, you know, the portal, and this is where we find ourselves in this box. You know, see, you're like, you can't go outside the box anymore.
Distance ends. Okay, great.
Yeah, but no, StreamYard typically is used for actually streaming.
Okay.
And I don't do that. I record.
It's cool. It's working.
So far, usually it does. There's been a few times we've had some hiccups, but for the most part, it seems to work pretty well.
Incredible.
So yeah. All right. Well, let's get into talking about who is Brody Burgess. Actually, I almost forgot. I've been sort of I'm really fanboying out right now. So that's what it is really. And so I'm forgetting. I met another Burgess.
Oh no, which one?
I have met, I don't know, probably he might say the most famous Burgess.
Oh, I don't know, dude. It depends. You're talking about Blake, of course.
No.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know who Blake is.
He's my brother. No, he's not the most famous Burgess, evidently.
Yeah. I've met Brooks.
That came out of nowhere.
Did you not expect that?
That's exactly what I was expecting.
I mean, obviously.
Are you messing with it? Have you met Brooks?
Yeah. So Brooks actually interned with me. Gosh, when was this? 2 or 3 years ago now.
No way, dude.
Yeah. So he was in, I want to say he was in like his last year of college, or maybe nearing his last year. And I think we were still not quite out of COVID, but mostly out of COVID. Yeah. And he needed an internship, I guess, for credit. And my boss knows, I guess, your parents through church, I think.
Yeah.
And so they were talking about it one day, and she was like, "Yeah, he can come intern with us." and so I'd always heard, hey, there's this Burgess. there's this,
Pretty cool,
there's this, that's like combining, right? There's this Burgess guy that's really good at video, like is really talented. And I was like, okay, so this is like Burgess, the one that does all the video work. She's like, no. It's like, why is he coming to work with me?
Oh man, I'm so glad you got to hang out with Brooks a little bit. He's the sweetest guy of all time. He's incredible.
Yeah, he and I hung out a good bit that summer. And I mean, it was like leading up to graduations whenever he first started with me. So he was helping me set up for live streaming graduations. We did some training.
I don't even know he did this.
You don't know when he did it? I just told you when he did it.
No, I didn't know he did this ever.
Oh yeah.
What?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you would think working with somebody like me, he would have mentioned that, right? I mean, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Talked about it on social media. I mean, something, right?
I probably just missed it. You know, pretty absent-minded. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I don't think he mentioned it because it was probably not the highlight of his college career.
It might have been. It might have been. That's awesome. He's incredible. I'm kind of jealous that it's been an entire summer with him, but that's okay. That's all right. Yeah,
it was good. It was good to meet him, and you know what? I think he could be the most famous and one day I'm sure the most talented Burgess, especially in the video space. Day.
No, without a doubt, it's in there. He just hasn't unlocked it yet, and I'm thankful.
That's true.
For that. Man, that's awesome, man. These are some incredible pictures.
You like those?
Yeah, I was thinking because I watched some of the other episodes and you have these pictures down here, but I don't really post on Instagram that much. So I was like, how in the world is he going to scrounge up some beautiful images? And seems like you've done a great job.
I will say your mom helped me out a pretty good bit.
Yeah. She does not hold back.
No. She had evidently had a blog at one point. I don't know if she still posts on it. And there's some really great pictures of you and your brother out at the farm, I think.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about. Are those later in the slideshow? Be honest with me.
I actually think I left those out. So if one's in there, it was like, oh yeah. So I mean, you know, but I think I ended up leaving those out because I found better ones.
Okay. That's tough to do, but I believe you. I do.
Hey,
I have faith in you.
You won't find this on social media. I don't think my mom's been that harsh on me, but I have there's pictures that exist of me as a 13-year-old boy with braces, which is pretty much the most confident person you'll ever find.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And she decided to take me to almost like glamour shots, right? It was like Olin Mills back in the day. Okay. Your parents would remember it. Those kind of photos. And she got me to pose with a giant teddy bear.
What's wrong with that? That's incredible.
There's a long list of things that's wrong with that.
What could ever be wrong with that? Where is this photo shoot? I need it. And then also
has
you on it.
Yeah,
you know?
that one you would probably have to go get coffee with my mom at some point to get that one, which she would probably take you up on that and gladly share the photo with you. So.
Okay, great. I'll make that happen.
Yeah. She would not hold back at all. But it was definitely probably looking back the most humiliating. Probably the second most humiliating moment of my life. So we'll leave out the first.
We won't go into it.
Yeah, we'll save that for a later episode.
That'll be later when we're getting into it.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell me, who is Brody Burgess?
What? That's the question?
That is the question. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm a person that exists. I'm a husband. I got married like a year ago at this point, which is awesome.
Yeah.
To someone who's super dope. Cameron is her name. She helps produce some of the short films we do. You may have seen. No, you didn't even finish the short film. At the end, you'll see her name. It's in there.
Okay.
She also makes the fake blood for the short films, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, I do a bunch of like video work for people. I make movies. I think the dream is to kind of make movies full time, and I really like watching movies almost as much as making them. So that's kind of my thing. I watch movies, hang out with my wife, and yeah, make videos for people, run around with cameras. I don't know if that encapsulates who I am as a human, but that is what's coming to my brain right now.
Nice. Well, tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up?
Mm,
Was there something in your early years that that sort of pushed you towards movies? Now, obviously, let me go ahead and sort of address the elephant in the room. At least if you grew up in Alabama and you ever owned a radio, obviously you grew up around Rick and Bubba.
it's true.
Uh,
Unfortunately, I would I would say that's yeah, that's unfortunate. No,
yeah,
I mean I grew up here like you say. I think having a dad who uh his job is in the creative space. He's also like living his dream. Like he was the type of kid that was like pretending to host shows like with fake headphones on like in his bedroom as a kid. And he would tell me those stories growing up. And I think that kind of has made it I don't know. It hasn't made them more supportive, but I think it's made it more like possible that I can go chase after my own dream and maybe it'll become a thing, you know?
yeah.
So I count myself extremely fortunate to have grown up with a dad who actually did achieve his dream and is supportive of all of his kids' dreams now, which is awesome. Um, but to answer your question about what pushed me to make movies or to like movies, um, when I was 4 years old, Brian, I was sitting on a couch, as some people do, and in front of me was a screen. On this screen was Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. Have you ever seen this movie?
Of course,
It's
many
one of,
times.
it's one of the greatest movies of all time. So at the beginning, I hadn't seen the first two. I just like knew nothing about this character, and I sit down, and it's young Indy fighting on top of a train. If you remember this opening,
Yeah,
this is the greatest thing that anyone's ever seen, right? And so I'm experiencing this as a 4 year old. And I'm like, Dad, how is this on my screen right now? How are we watching this? And he was like, what does that question even mean? I was like, how do I do this? And he was like, well, I think they did this with a camera. And I was like, where is a camera? Like, do we have one? And so he did have one. He had a camcorder. He wouldn't put tape in it. I didn't know how to record, but I would run around like from yeah, from that age, I run around, point it at people, cast my dogs in short films, and try to recreate Indiana Jones. We've unfortunately lost all of that footage.
I
Uh,
was thinking. I was thinking you were going to say, "Unfortunately, we have lost that cat. It got rolled. It got rolled over by a boulder."
it's true. It insisted on doing its own stunts, and
Yes.
it went down in the process. No, I mean that's what I would do. Unfortunately, all the footage is gone, but I think it would be way better than the originals that Steven Spielberg made.
Oh
I
yeah.
we could find that. I'm sure it would compete. Uh, but yeah, I mean that's kind of what got me into it. You know, just watching movies and my dad and mom being like so down to just be in the movies I would make as a kid, and my siblings being so down to be in the movies and having me direct them, not knowing what I'm doing. You know, just having fun. I think that's probably, if I could pinpoint it, that's where it came from.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've already seen your mom and your dad in this very short film that I was watching. It was a very brief, like, I don't know if it was so far. I'm still waiting to find out the end, but it seemed like it was like not a foreshadowing, but like a look back, like a, what do you call those? Um, like a
Flashback.
flashback. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah. It
movie.
seemed like a flashback.
It was no spoilers though, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't tell me.
they were super dead in that shot. They were. I mean, they looked super dead, which shockingly was like a little too hard to shoot on the day. Like I was there and I was looking at the monitor and it was like, oh, okay, those are my dead parents. We're gonna move on. You know,
Wow.
we got the shot. Let's move on. And yeah, that was definitely a weird shot. But they're actually, if you go back and watch most of them, until recently, I've gone on a tear this summer, and we've made just like a few without them. But there's like at least one frame of them in a lot of them. And my dad does die in a lot of them. It's true.
Yeah, that's you know, I think we all need a little face of more our own mortality a little bit. So,
That's
you
right.
know, and through a camera lens is a whole lot better than like a near death experience or something like
Absolutely.
that. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's move on from there and let
Moving
talk
on.
about a little bit of your journey because I've seen like I are you
What?
enjoying your
Where did you find this animatic of me? Is that what that is?
I yeah, that was something that I think somebody else had shared. So, just a secret to I don't want to put this out there too much because then everybody knows to
Mhm.
start like blocking these things or something. But when
Okay.
somebody tags you in it on Instagram, man, I go to the tagged because
Incredible.
then I'm going to get to see you instead of you know what you post a lot of times is your work, and
Yeah.
I say that not just about you but creatives in general. But if I go to who's tagged you, oftentimes it's behind the scenes kind of shots or it's you know animated
Yeah.
figures at
Right.
times. So
Okay.
yeah,
Good to know.
it's
I,
golden, man.
I look good in it. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't lie. I mean, that's phenomenal. But yes, what was
That
your question? I'm sorry.
so, well, I was saying I've been following you. I'm trying to remember whenever I guess I started following you when you were working at the church.
Hmm.
And doing video like there's one specific video, the one y'all did, I think it was up on the roof or something,
Yeah.
inside this white, I don't know, it looks like a place that you really shouldn't have been, but it looked really cool.
We should not have been there. And getting
Yeah,
gear up there was not easy. I will
yeah,
say.
it looked like you probably just had like a fire escape kind of ladder that you had to climb to get stuff up in there.
That was exactly right.
Yeah, but that I remember that video, and I probably have followed you ever since. And then I watched. I mean, you worked with 99 Natives, which I think you still work for or work with at times. And then here recently, I've seen this. I don't know if it's much of a transition, but it's at least things that I'm seeing now. Is you with like working more in film, whether it's shooting more commercial or even like short film. I'm not sure if I've seen you working on a feature, but I've seen you more migrate towards that kind of work. But in general, I guess cover the stuff that I've missed as well as
Yeah,
touch on some of the stuff I just mentioned.
you've done a pretty good job. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie. No,
I'm stalker. You got to forgive me a little bit there.
no, I respect it. I really do. This is incredible. I wish everybody would do this research on me, so they would just be caught up when I meet them. That would be great.
Yeah, I
No,
don't have to talk about myself all the time then.
exactly. It's exhausting. Just get to know me virtually.
Yeah,
Um,
just stalk me on Instagram.
yes, just go to my tagged photos and you'll figure out
Yeah,
everything. Um, yeah, I guess like I really liked making movies. That has always been a thing. I would I think in high school that's when I started being like, okay, but also I can make money with a camera. That's insane. How do I do that? And so um I just heard like people talking about that was a thing that they do, and I was like, that can't be real. So I'm just gonna make videos for people for free and just see what happens. So in high school, I went to Shades Mountain Baptist Church, and in their student ministry, they had a really cool student pastor. And I went to him. I was like, "Can I just start making announcement videos for you?" And he was like, "Sure." And so, unguided, no revisions or anything, I would just start making announcement videos, which were basically just like skits and bits and stuff like that. And that turned into like by my senior year, they stopped just having announcements in them, and they turned into just like me trying to tell stories and just like making short films about random people in the in the student ministry and stuff like that. And during that time, I got to work some with Ethan Milner and those guys at Cedar. They
yeah.
Ethan at least used to work at Shades Mountain Baptist Church, so uh, he was doing a short film or something at Shades. I don't know how that was even possible. So I was like, can I please do something? So I PA'd on that. And I was like, well, this is the greatest thing that anyone's ever done. I'm going to try to do this for the rest of my life. So um, I went to my parents and I was like, I don't think that you need to go to college to do this, right? I think you can just, and I'm sorry I'm going at warp speed here, but
No,
that's
no, you're
how
good.
my
You're
brain's
good.
working. When that happened, I went to my parents. I was like, okay, I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to make videos for people, see if I can get on sets, make money from that. And my dad was like, absolutely, that's great. And then my mom was like, that's the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life. You're going to go to college. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then I went to college. So I went to Auburn University with the agreement with my parents. I was like, okay, if I can get some steady work um, outside of college, I'm gonna drop out. So I went there for a year, and that was the 2019 2020 year. So 2020 happens. Everybody wants video. While I'm at Auburn, I'm like doing video stuff. That's a thing. Everybody wants video. Valleydale Church, which is where Brian enters the picture. You've picked up, right? Valleydale
Yeah.
Church reaches out to me and they're like, video stuff, and I'm like, video stuff. So then I start working there, and I get to drop out of college without my mom hating me, which is great. So that was a win. So I worked there for about 2 years, and you watched a couple of those videos. That was the most incredible environment to learn how to do this because the creative department there is incredible. The people there are super kind and gracious, so you can kind of just mess up, and then they'd be like, okay, you messed up, and I'll be like, okay, and then I would just move on and do the next one, which I think is like the greatest way to grow as someone in video or film. You kind of just have a training ground where you can just keep on messing up, and it's not so high pressure, and you're not like um, messing everybody else up around you. It's just like you try to make a video, you have an idea in your head, and you can't quite figure out what it is or how to translate that to a screen. You know, yeah, go.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I've noticed even with your stuff early on at Valleydale that I've seen, like the colors that you were getting, as well as I think just the overall edits that you were putting together, the sort of storytelling of it. I don't know. I just noticed early on from, I guess I say early on, from the time that I started following you, even to now, the stuff that I've seen from you, it's rich in color, but also rich in story. Where did that stuff really come from? Was that something? Do you feel like there was a lot of trial and error, or do you feel like you had somebody, or maybe a few people that sort of guided your hand a little bit more in that stuff?
No, that's super kind, man. Thank you. I don't know. Like I really think most of that came from watching movies. It's
Yeah.
like I'm like actually obsessed with them. Like I watch movies all the time, especially when I was at Valleydale. My schedule was like I would work from like 8 to 8, and then go home and watch movies until I would fall asleep. And I think that was just like me because I think I'm fortunate enough to um, have been blessed with knowing what I wanted to do since I was 4. Um, so I've been kind of like figuring out how to do that along the way. So when I got to Valleydale, um, I kind of knew what I wanted to try to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, like as far as the storytelling goes, um, at Valleydale, the trial and error was not that big. I think I had done a bunch of trial and error with storytelling before that. But when I got to Valleydale, that's when you know, I sat down and I was like, okay, I think I know how to tell a story, but I don't know how to make it actually hit because I don't know how cameras work and I don't know how to make it sound good. And I don't know what certain things make people feel certain ways. So that was the trial and error there. Um, and I think there was significant, like, oh, wow, that just didn't work at all. And also, I'm moving at warp speed, but also while I was there, it's a church. So most of the videos you make are played in front of an audience, which is like how, like, that's insane. Like, that's the most helpful thing ever. You watch it in a room filled with people, engage how they're feeling and how they're reacting. And I'm like, okay, that didn't work. But I kind of feel like I know why that didn't work, if this is even making any sense, Brian. But
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. A lot of people seem to get their start in creative space in general in churches, especially at least in this area. I mean, you already talked about Ethan Milner. Those guys, a lot of their stuff was connected originally to church. And a lot of the people that I talked to have similar stories. But I haven't heard it sort of put that way that especially in the video space, you get sort of the satisfaction and probably a little bit of the extra pressure and fear knowing that every time you create something, it's going to be displayed on this big screen right in front of an audience. And you're going to be in the room oftentimes and you're going to hear and see their actual reaction. And when it hits, like you get that satisfaction and that lesson sort of learned. And when it misses, you get that disappointment and that struggle, but also that lesson learned.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's I mean, looking at, I hadn't thought about that before. Like, the more I think about those 2 years at Valleydale, I realized just how insanely perfect they were for someone in that stage of their career, like trying to figure out how to like, I don't know. You said richness. That's the first time anyone's ever said that to me. But add that richness into the stuff you're making. Figure that out.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Do you remember the name of that song? Because I was looking.
Yeah, it
and
was Wondrous Cross is what it was.
Okay, because I found. Did you do this one? The How Great Thou Art?
No, that was
Okay.
someone else. I forgot his name.
You
He's
said
incredible though.
you said Wondrous Cross.
Wondrous Cross. That's right. It's somewhere.
Oh gosh.
Now
I'm like, here it is.
Wow.
We were about to display my horrible spelling ability on this. I'm like, all right, I know what I'm cutting now.
Absolutely. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut the audio on this, but the visuals of this, assuming it is it playing? Yeah, like this was what, like the location alone just looks incredible, man. It's got really great, just sort of aesthetics. Obviously, shooting or editing it in black and white just even enhances it even more. Was that, and this is sort of like secrets in whether photography or video, if the colors look bad, throw it black and white, right? Where the
kind of like this video in particular, like there's the song itself was like old hymn, and then there's like
right.
a part that's new that the worship pastor there, Kirkwood, had written. So that part was new. So we did black and white means old, and then it fades to color with the new part, and then fades back to black and white. So this was actually a choice. As I don't get to say that much, but it was a choice. But no, yeah, I've definitely been in that situation where I'm like, well, I can't figure this out, especially when I was at Valleydale, because I didn't know like how LUTs worked. So I tried to just color everything from log myself, not knowing anything. So I'd be like, okay, it's black and white now. Yeah. But not this one.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I love this one. I love sort of the creativity of finding just a really cool looking space, and the fact that you carried a drum set up that, or somebody carried a drum set up that ladder. Yeah.
It was not me.
You struggled enough getting the camera up there, probably.
No, it's true. No, I was watching all these musicians carry it up, and like we didn't light this, so I was just like, yeah, you guys have fun. I'm proud of you, carrying all this stuff up for that fire escape. It was awesome.
That's funny. That's really cool. It's a great video. Obviously, without the audio, it sort of loses a little bit.
The song's incredible. Kirkwood Bullis is the guy who did that. He's amazing. Yeah, he's super talented. Great.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like a really good team there when you were there. Both just sort of the guy that was doing the worship. A lot of the videos I saw, the people that were in front of the camera oftentimes were really great. And then on top of it, your camera work, as well as lighting, as well as the editing that was done then. It was good. But also, like you said, it was a great place for you to learn a lot.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your connection with 99 Natives, because I understand you worked with them, and I've got big respect for 99 Natives. The stuff they do in their just general commercial work, local sort of coverage of things, as well as like they've got, what is it, like Array 30A or something?
Oh yeah.
That's them also, and so they do these beautiful 30A homes that they do real estate videos for that just looks incredible. But they're really talented, it seems, as well as just hustling, man. They're getting all kinds of work.
The robots. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, Connor and Banks are the two that started um, like that whole umbrella, which was called Resolute, and underneath that there was 99 Natives who did the commercial work, Resolute Wedding Films, and
yeah,
Array. What is that? Real estate. Yeah, real estate
yeah,
content. All of them super successful. All of them super great. So they're kind of like business video wizards, Connor and Banks. So I got connected with them after they had already started all of those. Because we went to high school together. They were a little bit older than I was, but we went to high school, and so they just reached out and they were like, "Do you want to help us?" And I was like, "Sure." So then I went to 99 Natives, started figuring out how, because like I said, like they are amazing at making videos. That's true, but their real talent is business, dude. Like they're insane. So I learned a ton from them in that way. Just how they, you know, dealt with clients and how they, form proposals. And like I said, like, man, even looking back now at that same thing with Valleydale, I mean, it was like just perfect for that time in my life because, you know, like I worked at Valleydale trying to figure out how to make things work. And then I worked there and they showed me, okay, we can make videos, but this is how you can actually sustain a life making videos for people. It's crazy.
yeah. Well,
So,
that's something that's usually one of the most difficult things, I think, for creatives in general. Like
yeah.
we all work on our craft. We all, in many cases nowadays, we spend hours and hours daily on YouTube just learning,
Yeah.
as well as we get out in the field and learn. Or some people choose to go more of a I guess traditional film school kind of route. But
Yeah.
we all invest in our craft. And then after we feel like finally I'm good enough to make money, we actually have to figure out how to make the money.
I
Like
know.
how do we get clients? How do we price our work? How do we manage invoices and receipts and all of this deliverables and everything? Like the selling of yourself is so difficult, and I can only imagine the help it would be to work alongside people that are sort of ahead of the game, so to speak.
Totally. Yeah, and I came on as the creative director, so they kind of were just like, okay, you be in charge of creative stuff, and then watch us do the business stuff. And along with them at 99 Natives, they hired Grant Watson, who is the main guy there now.
Yeah.
He's got a great head on his shoulders. Also amazing on the business side of things. Also great with the camera. Yeah. So that was kind of it. I got to watch them ball out in that way, and I got to just make sure the things look good, which was great.
Now, so where are you at now, and maybe catch us up to like job wise, because you went from 99 Natives, the church, 99 Natives. What was it after that, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, I'm Brody now. I'm just a freelance, guy who makes videos for people. And that was just like in pursuit of kind of what you were talking about a little bit ago, like finding time to get on other people's sets, finding time to make movies on the side, and yeah, because I'm to the point now where I'm looking to uh, make a feature, and that certainly takes time, and you can't really have a full time job and also make a feature at the same time. So um, yeah, it was kind of just to open that world up a little bit. But in this past year, because a year ago I left 99 Natives, I still work with Grant a ton on stuff, but full time stuff. I started doing my own thing, and in the year, it's been just that. I've been learning from other people, meeting a bunch of awesome people. You've been doing the same thing, meeting all these sick dudes that hang out in Birmingham. I mean, they're yeah, the space here is amazing. So it's been that, and also I do just some commercial work as well, but just as myself. So that's what I'm doing right now. I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what, well, let me pause. Let's take an excerpt real quick. Yeah. Congratulations. You mentioned it earlier. I'm going to pull up, this is part of me, finding good stuff like, through the tag, because you yourself, at least what I saw, never shared photos of your actual wedding.
Which
okay.
My wife brings up often.
Yes, but it's okay. The barn at Shady Lane shared it for you and tagged you in it. So, but yeah, it looks like it was a beautiful ceremony, beautiful day. The last wedding I shot at the barn at Shady Lane ended in a thunderstorm. So, it looks like y'all had a much better weather outcome, although it was still beautiful, you know, even with the thunderstorm. So,
awesome.
But seriously, congratulations on that. I know, you know, it was really neat. I think it was while I was following you that I saw the engagement stuff. That actually saw just organically on social media. Your wedding, I had assumed whenever I saw this, it would happen eventually. I just didn't know when it did happen until I started stalking your tagged photos and then realized, oh, he is married, not just engaged.
And I tried to invite you to the wedding. Cameron shot it down. I tried to send you an invite, but she was like,
I get that.
We don't know him. And I was like,
it got lost in the mail.
It did. That's what happened. Yeah. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for finding that out. Yeah.
Well, and I think just in general, finding the right person is so key in marriage, and y'all definitely make a beautiful couple. So congratulations on that, and wish y'all many decades of happiness. So
yeah, man, thank you. Yeah, you're right. I can see how if you marry the wrong person, it would be super lame. But I think we've done good. My life has definitely like gotten way better. Hers, I don't know. I don't know if hers has, but mine has definitely improved quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, I know in the case of my marriage, my wife suffers when I just benefit in general from it. So
absolutely, it worked out great for me.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So now let's talk a little bit about some of the work that you do. And this also is something that I've been able to find with tags, and not so much with you actually. Well, you're not. Oh, you're talking about the photos. Yeah, right. You like those?
Yeah, the one in the middle. That's from so long ago. That's great.
Yeah, it looks great. I don't know why you ever upgraded from that camera. I mean, that camcorder looks like stunning.
It's incredible. I'm telling you, man, it was the first ever camera I had that shot 4K. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I was like, that's great. I'm going to need that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to need 4K, definitely. Yeah. And maybe, were you shooting vertical back then, probably?
No. Absolutely not. I didn't know what that meant either.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold the camera, and it's going to look great.
What cameras are now? I see you've got the C70 on the gimbal there on the right side. What about the other side? Do you know what camera that is? Is that also the C70? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, some people haven't outgrown Canon yet, obviously, but the rest of us probably have. So.
No, I just I have a Komodo, so apparently I'm a Nikon guy. You know.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's true. So I'm a Nikon man. Well, I will tell you, I just shot, me and some friends, we just shot a short film all on the T5i, the Canon Rebel T5i.
I saw somebody was a behind the scenes photo of that.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Tell me the story of that and the why to that.
Well,
can you? Is this something that's not able to be disclosed yet?
No, I don't care. It's a short film I wrote. It's about a guy that's like depressed, so he isn't feeling well, and the world he's in is kind of not great. So we shot it on the T5i because that's a nasty little camera, and it looks really gross. But it actually ended up looking a little too good. Like,
Okay.
I'm looking back on this footage, it looks almost too good. And then
So
at
you've
the
got to
end,
tear it up even more.
yeah, I know we gotta beat up the image a little bit, which is kind of sad. But at the end, you talked to Brevell, right?
Yeah.
Dude, incredible man. He's
Yeah.
got an Alexa, so at the end of the short, he wakes up, he feels a little better. So we shot that part on the Alexa, and so I'm looking at these two images, and I'm telling you, the T5i does not look that much worse. I haven't done much
That's
to any of them, so
right.
that's not really the point. But still,
Well, yeah, I mean, once you get into actual color grading, the T5i is going to just
uh,
fall to
I don't think
pieces.
I can push that very far.
No, no, no. But I think what you're saying is so true. Just in essence, the camera really doesn't matter, right? I mean, to some degree, granted, if we want to get these really, if we want to push the image, then a lot of times it can matter. But good story overrides good camera any day.
For sure. No, I totally agree. I'll say like the camera does matter, but not like you need a good one. I think like you really need to think about the sensor that your story needs if you have all the resources. Like if you're telling a story about a really happy time at a family trip on a resort, you probably want it to look clean and bright and beautiful, or a commercial, you got to think about that. But also, if you're telling a story about a guy with depression, you probably don't want that looking very bright and beautiful and commercially, Um,
Yeah.
so I think thinking about the sensor goes into that a lot.
Well, you mentioned Brevell earlier. This I know was a shoot that y'all did. I don't think it was Brevell's main, like he wasn't the main guy. I think with this, I don't
Mhm.
remember who the producer or director would have been, but I understand you were working some role in this. Do you recall exactly what your role was in this?
I
Was
do.
it
I
was
was
it
a gaffer.
gaffer?
Yeah, I was a
Okay,
gaffer.
yeah, yeah. But this video was beautiful. Whenever I
Thank
talked to Brevell about it, I think it hadn't come out yet. Like I think it was still working in coloring. But he said that it was a
Oh man.
Barnes and Noble ad.
Yeah, it was. I when we were shooting it, it was for Barnes and Noble, but then when it came out, it was for Second and Charles, and I was like, "That's a switch up."
Well, it messed him up in the episode because still I think what I did was I just did like a little asterisk next to him and
Sure,
said Second and Charles. So I
you did
appreciate
good.
you clearing that up for him because as far as he knew, it was Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, it's not his fault. We were
Yeah.
shooting. The script said Barnes and Noble. It did.
That's funny. Well, tell me a little bit about this shoot specifically.
Yeah,
Well, hello. I just got audio there in my ear as I
let's
went to
go.
the video part.
Are you okay?
I think that may have been. I don't know if that was you. It sounded like you saying action. Uh,
I don't
that
think I
does.
took action on that one, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe I got
Yeah,
unruly at one point.
but I
Uh,
understand there was a lot of challenges associated with this video.
oh, for Ravel, man, that was my first time meeting him, and it spoke a lot about like how he is under pressure because like literally everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for him, and he had a smile on his face. I even sat next to him on the side of the road after his tire had popped when we're already 5 hours behind schedule, and he was
Yeah,
like, I could tell he was upset, but a smile was on his face, and he was telling me about his life, man, and then about his family. With yeah, I mean, it's great. So I was really to get back on set with him, and we pulled him on for that short film because I was like, I just want to work with people that bring great vibes and are great people. So he definitely proved to me that he was. So I'm gonna jump at any chance I can work with him again. Yeah. But
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of challenges.
Yeah, Brevell seems like a great guy, but that whole crew seems like really great people, and they're just all killing it right now. I mean, I see project after project that most of that crew, if not all of that crew, are on. including yourself, man. It seems like I'm seeing y'all all the time in behind the scenes stuff right now,
Yeah,
shooting short films or shooting some commercial spots. It's been really neat to sort of watch from the sidelines.
yeah, man.
Um, so props on all of that. Here I've got pulled up your website. I looked through a couple of these videos. This one here, this town ain't big enough for the two of us,
Right.
is an interesting short. Can
It's
you give me a little bit? Give me a little bit of a background to this or idea to this.
well, okay, so Sidewalk Cinema. Do you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, so they have like a timed filmmaking competition, uh,
yeah,
where you make it in a weekend, and that's what this was. So you roll
okay,
up. They give you a genre and a line you have to say in the movie and stuff like that, and you have to write it, and shoot it and edit it, finish it in a weekend. Which that's what this was, and I it's the first time I did something like that. We've since done it a couple other times, and this was my first time meeting some of these people. I think it was Brady, the guy who plays Carl, that guy right there.
yeah, yeah.
My first time meeting him, he's hilarious, dude. These are all my friends. They're all amazing. This was a great experience.
Well, I love a lot of the shots, especially those like medium shots that you got. The way you play with the light behind them. A lot of times, you
Yeah,
let the light hit the lens, but then you'll just sort of move to where they're casting a shadow. So it's just got that sort of the glow to it, the haze to it, and then the clarity. I think you do a good job just in general with some of these shots.
thanks.
That sort of the I guess utilizing the light well. Is lighting something in general that you typically do you typically lean towards natural light, or do you typically end up bringing in your own light a lot?
Yeah, I do both. For this, I mean, a lot of exteriors. You know, you I use natural light mostly, but we did have like an 8 by silk that we would just toss up in front of the sun because Calf Wee there, who's on camera now, was getting just the sun pelted in her face, so we softened that up a little bit. But um, no, I like to, I like to move around what the sun's doing. Uh, I like to cut light on the like on this shot right here. The contrast isn't there in real life, so you kind of have to pull in some floppies and kill some of that shadow stuff like that. But um, for exteriors, I like to do that. I bounce around the light, I take away light, stuff like that. It's the light that's already there. But if I'm interior, I push from what's already happening in the room. I think um, it's a mistake because I did this for a while where you just like walk into a room and you're like, okay, I need to light it, so I'm gonna put lights in here, without taking into account like what's actually happening in the room already. Especially at like the budget level that we're working at. You kind of to make it look good, you kind of have to see what the light's doing already, and then just kind of help that out a little bit, help that get across the face a little bit more, or take away light where your camera is, stuff like that, create some contrast. But yeah, I like just seeing what the sun's doing and
Do
follow it.
you like you were gaffer on that set we were looking at earlier? Is that something you typically do? Is work as a gaffer?
No, not at all. I think that's no. I mean, I've gaffed a few times, like for Grant and 99 Natives. I've actually gaffed a lot for him, and that was my only time outside of Grant and myself that I've just been a gaffer. It was, I think it was my only time just being a gaffer. You get on these 3-person crews and you're gaffer and grip or you're everything. Yeah, that was my only time being just a gaffer, and it was awesome. So I would love to do that more because I'm I might be in love with the way light moves. I'm figuring that out right now. Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing. I don't know what your question was. What was your
No,
question? Yeah,
well, I was
I
asking
started talking about
if you
light.
can if you consider yourself sort of a gaffer, or have you
Oh
worked as a
no,
gaffer in other contexts before?
no. I've been um I've gripped way more than I've gaffed. But I would love to throw up lights for anybody. That's my
All
answer.
right. All right, you've heard it here,
You've
people.
heard
You've
it here
heard it
first.
here. So I do love, just going back to this video that's showing right now. Like, I do love the play with the editing, man. Anytime it like gets out of, I guess, out of the act, so to speak, you cut to color and then you cut back to black and white, and you got the bars on the side. Like, I do love the use of just that play on the visual. The camera, so to speak, is almost like, or the edit maybe is a better way to say it. That becomes a character in and of itself. So it
Absolutely.
was
Yeah,
good. I liked it.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was super fun.
All right, so let's talk about advice, man. If you were talking to somebody that that is just starting out, or maybe a piece of advice that somebody's given you that you think is worth sharing, what would that be?
Okay, I'm about to drink out of this water bottle. It's about to be loud.
Yeah, go for it. Chug it, man.
Also, look at this rig I have in that far. I don't know how you're looking at it. Far right picture.
Is
Wait,
that the T? What'd you say? The T5i or T
no, dude,
whatever?
that's the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. But look,
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It's tiny, man. That's the first one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. But I think I just like went into a closet and found stuff. And
Yeah, your rails are a little bit overcompensating there.
See, this is what I was talking about. This is a Valleydale shoe right here. This is what I was talking about. I
That's
came
funny.
back and I was like, that's that's not how you do it. But now I know.
What's amazing though is you think about it, and I experienced this when you go into somewhere that, I don't know, like if you're the first to do video in a certain space, it's so easy to not feel judged and to almost exceed expectations consistently. And it's just really easy and sort of relaxing to grow your skills in sort of a safe space, so to speak. At least that was my experience, man. I mean, I started off in schools, like as a teacher doing video work, and everything I did was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I look back at it and I was like, I didn't know what I was doing at all.
Yeah. I think it's just doing it. Maybe that's my advice. Branching off of that. I think it's just like who is this advice for? Just people that are
Me? What advice do you have for me?
Oh, just keep on being yourself, Brian.
Thank you.
For people who are trying to do video or what?
Yeah, I would say people that are aspiring to get where you are, or people that are aspiring to, I guess maybe start in the video space or maybe move into commercial work. Anything that you've sort of lessons you've learned, that's sort of what I'm looking for. What have you learned that you would pass on to somebody else? And this could be people that are literally people that you are working with or would like to even work with that could learn from you. We all want to learn from you, Brody.
That is unwise, but I will try. Man, I think I have a lot of things I've learned. I have a lot of probably advice. I don't know if it's good or not, but I am going to say it on the Creating Creators podcast.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course. I watch YouTube a lot, man. Like so much. I think like every time you have an idea, I think you can probably get close to achieving that idea. And I think the answers are on YouTube. And that's like completely true. Like I found that so many times. But I've been around some people, even on some sets, that like on some sets, but also like people that are just starting out, they give up on ideas so quickly. And I just, obviously you want to take into account like other people's time and your time, but I think your idea can be achieved, man. You just gotta look it up, and then it's just something you'll know, or just ask someone around that's better than you. Like there's just like a moment where you don't know it, you then find it out, and now you know that forever. You know what I mean? Like,
Has there been a time on set where you sort of saw this happen, or even with yourself that you've where you've been sort of at a loss and you either, you know, phoned a friend or you YouTube searched it up, or
yeah.
anything like that happened for you so far?
No, I mean that was every night at Valleydale. Like, I'm serious. Like, I I was just the only video guy. Nobody around knew what was going on, so they were like, "Yeah, you kind of have to figure it out." And I was more than happy to just. You just disliked that.
Do
I thought
that.
it was a great point. Oh
That
my
was
god!
the worst advice I've ever heard.
I knew this would happen. I would be
Yeah.
judged. Um, that is hilarious, by the way. Yeah, yeah, every night at Valleydale, I would like just get in my office and look up how to do stuff. As for phoning a friend, I don't do that as much as I probably should. Um, I think I need to, like, I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like comfortable asking people, but I do think it's a little more um helpful, especially for yourself, if you have the time to try to figure it out yourself and look it up and try to actually make the adjustments with your hands in your brain,
Yeah.
so it sticks in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than just simply asking somebody else, step in and fix this for me.
Yeah. Now, if you're
Yeah.
on set, you need to ask someone. If you don't know what they just told you to go get, or if they've asked you to do something you don't know how to do, you need to tell them right then that you don't know how to do that thing instead of trying to figure it out. I'm talking more like creatively in your own journey, like
Right.
you figure it out. But if you're on set and some dude comes to you and tells you something that you have no idea, like they're speaking another language, you need to tell them that right there so they know. Uh, so you don't just go waste everyone's time and then come back and say I couldn't do it.
There is another language on set.
It's true.
That is that. I mean, I keep hearing. I mean, I don't call things what they're supposed to be called, but I
Absolutely.
also don't work on big sets. But like I think of what do you call them? The clothespins. What are
There's
they called?
the
They're like
clamps.
yeah. Oh, no, just the little clothespins. You know the little wooden
Yeah,
clothespins.
yeah. I don't know
I,
what they're called.
I
There's a
think
name
they're
for 'em?
called like they're like C-44s or something like that.
That sounds like a bomb. That's crazy. I don't know.
We have bombs on set? You can't
That's
say
crazy.
bomb on an airplane.
That's good. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's true. That's true. But yeah, I mean, it's things like that like so, and that's probably a ridiculous example, but it seems like a stinger. You know, like nobody calls nobody outside of a movie set is going to call an extension cord a stinger.
Well, that I've started saying it outside. My wife, thankfully, Cameron has started picking up on it, and she can speak
Yeah,
the language as well. Like, the other day, well, it's actually helpful because like when you're with a group of people, and I had to go to the bathroom, right? So we're with a bunch of friends, and I'm like,
yeah.
Cameron, I'm gonna go 10-1. Nobody knows I'm going to the bathroom except for her, but she knows where I'm going, and she knows the situation. You know?
I had no idea. I've never heard that. 10-1.
Oh, really? And 10-2
Yeah.
is the other thing. It's true. Yeah.
All right. I'm not sure. I'm assuming I can tell which one's which,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Hmm. It's great.
Well, there you go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Those are the kind of things that I think you only learn by just being there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
Either that or look it up on YouTube, right?
No, literally. Like, I'm serious. Like, there's days I remember. I don't remember what shoot it was, but I was gonna go be on set like when I was 18, 17, something, and I was like, okay, I'm the most nervous that a person can be right now. I'm gonna watch every YouTube video on how to speak on set, what to wear, and it's all out there. It
Yeah.
is now. It has failed me a couple times watching a video how to speak on set. I'm because like it's especially around here, people have their own lingo, you know. But
Yeah.
YouTube videos do help me, the amount of sleepless nights I've like sat on my computer and just typed in how to be on set or how to be of First AC when I was figuring out what that even was. Like back in 2020, I was like, okay, somebody said this thing. I don't know what that is. How do I be one? You know, and it'll explain it a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But you got to get out there and get your hands on it.
yeah,
And actually, I'm assuming you were pulling focus maybe for
yeah,
First AC.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I'm assuming see, I don't know. I would mess myself up on set.
Yeah. Well, there's a YouTube video about it.
That's
No,
true. I need,
you pull, First AC pulls focus, but it also does some other stuff
yeah. Yeah.
as well.
And then who actually gets their hands on the camera?
It depends. Well, the First AC builds it and like rigs it to like whatever the scene needs, and some DPs operate themselves. Most that I've been with operate themselves, but some people have operators, and that's who does it.
The cam ops.
The cam ops.
Cam ops. That sounds militant at that
That's
point.
cool, man. The cam ops.
It sounds really cool. It sounds like super tough.
It is really cool.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question. I want to know what's next for you, and you've sort of alluded to some of this already. It seems like you've got a feature. Is this something that you've already written that you plan to shoot?
I have 80 pages of a screenplay that I just broke into Act 3. So I've been writing this one for a while. So I've finished it multiple times, and now I'm going back and figuring that out. But that's the dream, to make a feature film. I'm also toying with the idea of making a feature documentary. This is a guy I've been talking to. That would be an awesome subject, and that's kind of all I'll say. But yeah. I'm looking to make some features, man. I've made a bunch of shorts, but in the meantime, I just want to keep on learning from people in Birmingham or wherever. You know, I just want to see how other people do it, because it feels like for a long time I've been like mostly doing this in a little bit of a vacuum, in you know, like I've been talking about, like just figuring it out myself. And now in this past year, I've been able to see how other people do it. So yeah, I just want to continue doing that. Get to hang out with people on sets. It's pretty fun. And also make some money so me and my wife can eat food. That that as well would be great.
Yeah. Has your mom been saying, hey, maybe it's time to try the college thing again?
She brings it up every day.
I'm sure.
Yeah. She's like, oh yeah, you can always go back. And I'm like, I just don't know if I will, but thank you, Mom. Thank you.
They won't take me, Mom.
That's probably true. It's over,
yeah.
Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's next. And then also, just hanging out with Cameron.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the Birmingham scene. Like, I mean, this is something that whenever I first started Creating Creators podcast, I really looked at it more with commercial work, social content that people were making. And I quickly found out that the scene in Birmingham, not just in the video space, but especially in the video space, it seems like it's a lot bigger than I ever realized. Especially, you think of film and you obviously think of Hollywood, you think of Atlanta now in the past decade or so, but you don't think of Birmingham, But it seems more and more, man. There's people I know. What's his name? Max. What's Max's last name? Tatum. Max Tatum. Like the stuff he's doing, the people that he's working with all the time. Obviously, Breville that we've looked at and talked about. I mean, so many of the people. I ran in the other day. I was at a coffee shop and ran into Brennan. Brennan. Is it Martigoni?
I'm not even going to attempt it. I have no idea.
I think somebody else said it the other day.
I follow him on Instagram, but I have no idea.
Somebody else said it the other day and literally apologized while they were saying it. So I guess I should apologize too. Brennan, I'm sorry. But I literally ran into him at a coffee shop the other day, and just the stuff that everybody seems to be doing in film, but also the commercial work that a lot of people are doing now. It's really impressive in the Birmingham area, just the creative industry in general.
Yeah. I mean, I was also a little shocked to just see how many people are also interested in this. I kind of grew up thinking it was just me. you know, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out because I'm the only one who wants to make movies. Is that even possible? I don't think so. Um, but the more people I meet, yeah, it's like the more people I work with, um, a lot of people, it maybe it's not even making movies, but it's like they make stuff that looks like a movie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's that high quality, and I think that's all over the place in Birmingham, and I think that's yeah, it was shocking. I think it's beautiful, and I think it's also crazy how nice everybody is. You know, like it's easy to get intimidated by these people. And then you meet them and they're actual human beings. And they're just like
Yeah.
super kind and awesome and are willing to help you. And yeah, I have nothing but positive things to say about the people in Birmingham, man.
Yeah, I noticed that immediately with like Cedar Creative. I think they
Yeah,
were like the third or fourth guest that I had on here, and just immediately these were guys that after seeing so much of their work, I was like, all right, these guys are big, and they're not going to want to even respond to my email. And then the fact that they were on the podcast and were just extremely kind
yeah,
and really personable. That showed me, and then from then on, it's like everyone I've had on has always been like that. I mean, everybody's been more than willing to talk with me. I mean, give me an hour or 2 hours in some cases of their time, and it's been really neat. The Birmingham area is full of really creative, but also just kind people. It seems.
yeah. I think if you're gonna tell stories or you like telling stories, you kind of like automatically have to have some empathy, or some like um, connection to other humans, and I think along with that comes kindness. Not always, you meet some people who don't meet that criteria, but for the most part, especially around here, man, it seems like the um, the people who really crave storytelling are also the people that are like yeah, super kind and empathetic and just love people. And like you said, personable. And I think that's not a coincidence. I think those go hand in hand.
I agree. I agree. And you're one of those. That's
Let's go.
definitely finally. All right.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
So tell me. Okay, one did make it. One did make it. I forgot about that one.
These are so good,
Yeah.
dude. My
That
mom really
bottom.
helped you out.
Yeah, that bottom one nailed it. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
dude.
That might compete with my braces and teddy bear.
Dude, it's angelic, is what it is. Like, that is exactly what it is. I will tell you this at my parents' house,
Yeah.
there's like a massive print of that in the bathroom, right above the toilet.
Why wouldn't there be?
I mean, of course. Like that's just kind of what happens.
I would imagine that your mother has an incredible sense of humor.
Oh
And
man.
and is probably very strategic in the placement of the art around her household.
Yeah, I think so. Like we also like my family has a farm in Jimison,
Yeah.
and so there's this house there where in this house there's a room, and in the room they've now dubbed it the Brody room because it's just embarrassing baby pictures of me everywhere, like all over it. And I like, and to your point, that is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. Either
Yeah.
that or she just has a vendetta against you.
Yeah, that also might be it. I dropped out of college, so that might be what I did. That
The
might be what it
shame of the family.
is. That's what it is. That is totally what it is.
That's funny. All right. Well, tell me who inspires you, and I ask this for two reasons. I want to know like who do you look to for inspiration? Who encourages you to sort of go further than you normally think you can? But also, who is it that maybe you work with at times where it's like you see the work they're doing and it just makes you want to be better at what you're doing?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's just so many of them, you know. I took the liberty of looking through who you've already had for the most part. So
Yeah,
forgive me if I say people that you've already had. I know for a fact you've
that's okay.
had Ethan on there from
Yeah.
Cedar, like all the guys at Cedar. They definitely, like, ever since I was growing up, going to Shades, watching, like, I think his stuff, honestly, like, I watched it in church on the screen in service, and that unlocked something. I was like, okay, this is a guy that is at my church that is making stuff that looks that good. That means, and he like walked around with a red camera back in 2013, whenever this was, and I was like, this is the, I mean, that's the greatest person of all time. I know.
I wouldn't even known what a red was back then.
Oh, dude, I was all about it. And I was like, okay. Uh, just seeing it made it more attainable, you know. I was like, okay, this guy is doing it, and he's in my city, he's in my church. It's possible, you know. So honestly, him. But you've already had him, so
Right.
I'll mention other people. Well, you haven't had Preston and Morgan on, have you?
I
From
have
Cedar Ave?
not.
You
I
need to.
haven't. I talked with I think it was Savvy Meek. She's a graphic designer, and she has recently started doing sort of a Instagram and YouTube version of not quite a podcast, but similar to this. But it's sitting down in coffee shops and interviewing
Oh wow,
people. And I think she had Preston on. I think was who she had on most recently,
that's cool.
if
Wow.
I'm correct on that.
Uh, yeah. Oh, I mean, that Preston in particular, just the way, like, I've had the I've had the pleasure of working with him a couple times now, and just the way that he communicates, and like brings an ease to each situation that we're in, is something that I definitely am inspired by. You know,
Yeah,
um it's is no matter how like crazy his life gets, and I'm sure it gets pretty crazy, or how crazy the shoot we're on gets, or how late we're going, um I can always count on him, like, being, you know, chill, good. He'll say exactly um what we need to do in the most calm, even way, you know. And then you're just like, okay, all right, we can do that. Everything's fine. Everything's calm now, you know. So that's pretty inspiring to me. So I would say probably in the realm of, like, you need to have this person on here, get Preston on this.
yeah.
He definitely inspires me.
Here's the it's so Savvy Meek. She does Sunspark Creative, which is her graphic design company, but then she also does these interviews around Birmingham at coffee shops.
Yeah.
And she had Preston on recently.
Oh,
So yeah, it is pretty neat what she does. She's got a great personality, and then also I think just sort of being in person. Although virtual does work, I think being in person's a neat spin, and it's very casual, kind of laid back. And she doesn't have slides, but she's got much better personality than I do. So
you got to pick your battles, you know.
that's true. That's
That's
true. I overcompensate with camera quality and slides. So
I've had a pretty good time. I'm not gonna lie. And I've had a pretty good time. I'll say a couple other people
yeah,
that you've already had on. Seth is my dog. Love Seth.
yeah.
He inspires me for a lot of the same reasons that Preston does. Everyone at Cedar, Aaron. I love Aaron Wilhite.
Yeah,
Birmingham.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I'll hang out with him any moment I can. He's amazing. And a
I've
bunch of other
I've
people.
I've talked with Aaron. I think Aaron wants to. He wants a second run at this. He was my very first guest,
Oh wow.
and so I really need to just out of respect to him, and lots changed on his end. I hope I've gotten a little bit better at this than I was initially. So I probably do need to have him back on. But he's a great guy. Who else were you about to say?
Well, no, I was gonna say Brevel, a bunch of other people. I don't know. I don't know why I started listing people, because then I would just go on Brian Pope. I
Yeah,
mean,
I should have Brian Pope on. Did you know there actually is another Brian Pope?
is this? I mean, should we
There's
take it down?
in the area. I should have him on. He used to work for Fox 6 as a videographer, and he did sports stuff for a while. And then he currently works for Blue Cross Blue Shield and has the same job title as I do. I work for the school system, and it's called Digital Media Specialist, and he's got the same title at Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Why does he want to be you so bad? What is this?
It's crazy. He has a daughter who is, I think, in college now, but her name's Piper Pope, and I have a daughter who is about to turn 10, and her name is Piper Pope.
Piper Pope is a superhero name. Like that's
she likes to pick pickled peppers when she can.
Is that why? Okay, understood. Did that come with a name?
Yeah, I think so. It's a prerequisite. You know, she had to go through a couple of tests before we could officially name her that.
Understood.
So, yeah,
that's awesome.
It makes sense if you don't think about it. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
no, I won't think about it.
Brody, thank you so much for being on here. Seriously, dude, your personality is incredible. Your sense of humor is great. Your work is okay, but
I'm like you. I have to, I have to cut it off somewhere.
Yeah. You can only be so good, right?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Your talent and your efforts go towards your personality, not towards your actual work.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
No, I do feel like I've done a little bit of an injustice because we really didn't look at a lot of your work. So I apologize for that.
No, that is our homework for the audience, Brian.
That's so true.
Go watch or don't, or if you're done, if you're at an hour 20 right now and you have watched this entire thing, don't watch anymore.
Go to sleep. Take a break.
But if you're not tired, you can watch the short films that I have on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I've got to wrap this up so I can finish watching the one that I started.
Man, wow. So, yeah, please do.
Yeah. Well, seriously, Brody.
What you think?
I will. I'll message you on Instagram, which you don't have on your phone right now, so you won't get the message.
Right. That sounds perfect.
And you email me, and I won't check it. So, yeah.
Great. We'll reconvene in 5 days. That's what
exactly.
Okay, great.
I'll wait for you an extra, 15, 20, 30 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry again. Being late. But we did it, though.
No,
it happened.
We did. Well, Brody, seriously, thank you so much for being on Creating Careers podcast today.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. This was awesome.